Hello and welcome back to another session. Today's session is going to be about part 3 of the VPC series. In the last two sessions, we saw about the concepts in VPC like what are subnets, gateways, various security aspects. You can find the links to those videos in the description. In today's session, we will get into the AWS console and see what AWS VPC offers by default in each region and how to launch your own VPC. So let's get started. So we are in the AWS console now. I'm using one of the IAM uses created in the previous sessions. So let's enter into VPC section. Right away, you can notice that VPC is a regional service as you have a specific region selected here. In this case, we are in US East 1, which is also known as Northern Virginia. There are few resources that you get by default in each region. As you can see here, you get one default VPC in each region. Then one subnet per availability zone in each region. So in case of US East 1, we have 6 availability zones. So there are 6 subnets. Whereas in Europe, there are only 3 availability zones. So we have 3 subnets corresponding to each availability zone. Then you have one route table per region and also one internet gateway per region. However, there are no NAT gateways by default. From security aspect, you have one NACL and one security group per region. And you can create the rest of the resources when needed. Let's take a look at the configuration of each of these default components. First, the VPC itself. It does not have a name by default. Name is just the tag here. So you can go ahead and add a name tag to make it more readable than referring it with an ID every time. So I'm just going to go with default here as it is a default VPC. And once it's done, you can check the tag section where the name tag will be visible. And as you can notice, it comes with IPv4 CIDR block addresses, and it is attached to a default route table, DHCP options, and NACL. The tenancy is default here, meaning your VPC shares the same piece of hardware with other customers. However, they don't interact with each other. The other format is dedicated, which means your VPC gets a dedicated piece of hardware. And it is a default VPC, and the owner is the account ID itself. That is the AWS account ID where the VPC is located. Note that it does not come with a default flow log. It's recommended to add one when you start using the VPC. So this is how a basic VPC looks like. Moving on to subnets. As you can see, there are 6 subnets here as there are 6 availability zones in this particular region, and they are all attached to the main route table and the default NACL. These settings can be changed anyways. So these are some of the basic configurations of the subnets. And next in the list, we have route table. We have just one route table per region which comes as default. And in this route table, you have 2 routes, out of which the first one allows local components to communicate. And so the destination is the VPC CIDR block address itself, and the target is local. And the second one is the one which is attached to the internet gateway. So this one allows connecting to the internet. So these are the 2 default routes which comes along with the route table. Then we have one internet gateway attached to the default VPC. It's just straightforward, an internet gateway which is attached to the VPC. And there are no tags attached to it by default. You can add it however. Then you have a default DHCP option set. This one allows you to pass any configuration information like your DNS or domain names. Next, under the security section, we have NACLs and security groups. The default NACL is attached to all the subnets and comes with inbound and outbound rules. By default, it allows all the inbound and outbound traffic. The rule with a star is the one which denies all the traffic if in case the traffic doesn't match any other specific rules. Same is with the outbound rules as well. You have one allow rule and one deny rule. So the allow rule allows everything and the deny rule denies the stuff which the allow rule doesn't allow. So this is the default inbound rules, and similarly you have outbound rules the same way. It has one for allowing everything and one for denying the ones which the other rules doesn't specifically tell anything about. And these are the subnet associations, so it is attached with all the subnets. And next is the next we have only one default security group which allows all inbound and outbound traffic again. So it allows all the inbound and outbound traffic. As you can remember, security group doesn't have deny rules, it only has allow rules. So same way there is only one outbound rule which allows all the traffic. However, this can be changed easily by editing the rules. So this is all about the default VPC components. Next, let's move on to the next section to create our own VPC from scratch. So to create a VPC, either you can do it using the VPC Wizard or you can create your own VPC. So the VPC Wizard comes with 4 default options. The first one is a VPC with just public subnets, or you can have both public and private subnets. Or the third one is public private along with a VPN access. Else the final option is to have just the private subnet along with a VPN access. So this comes with the default suggestions from AWS itself. Or the other way is to not use any of these templates and do it on your own, which is what we are going to do now. So create VPC and the name is optional here and it's just the name tag. I'm going to go with my VPC. Then you have to choose the CIDR block range. I'm going with 10.0.0.0/16. The block size must be between /16 and /28 and the IP address range is determined by it. And you can opt for IPv6 if you like. I'm leaving it to be IPv4 for now and with the default tenancy. Tags are totally optional here as we have already opted a name, so the name tag is visible here. I'm going to hit create. That's it, it's pretty simple. Once this is created, next we can try to create a subnet under it. So let's go ahead and create our subnet. You have to click on create subnet. First, you need to select the VPC under which you want to place the subnet. I'm selecting the my VPC which we just created. And the subnet name is again optional, which is the name tag. I'm going to go with my subnet. Then you can either select availability zone or leave it to AWS to select one. Then comes the CIDR block, which I'm going to go with 10.0.0.128/25. Remember that no two subnet addresses can overlap. So it's done. You can hit create. It's that simple again. And you can see the number of addresses that are available. That is 123 in this case. So we have a VPC and a subnet within it. Apart from this, there are few things which are created when you create a VPC at the backend. Let's see what are they. You have one route table. with a single route which allows local communication, then one NACL and one security group from security aspect. So the NACL is attached to the subnet. You can see it in the subnet association. And then it comes with default inbound and outbound roles, which matches the default NACL. And similarly, there is one security group with the default inbound and outbound rules, which basically allows all the traffic. It does not come with internet gateway. You can add one if needed. So we have our own VPC. That's it for today, guys. Hope you found it useful. If you have any questions in this session, please let me know in the comments below. We'll see you soon in the next session. Thank you.